Hi, 7th grade. Okay, so I want you to take notes, and the first thing I want you to write on your note is 6.3, the percent proportion. I'm going to write that at the top of your page. Now, remember, this is a video. Pause it if I go too fast. Rewind it if you need something re-explained. But I am going to expect you to watch the full video and then do the homework assignment at the end. Okay? Here's some things you need to know before we get started. The word of means times. If you see the word of, I want you to automatically think multiplication. The next thing you need to know is the word is means equals. Now we knew that before, but you need to remember when you see the word is, that's an equal sign, okay? Keep that in mind for this lesson. Super important. Hopefully you wrote that down. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay. If I had the statement 25% of 12 is 3. I need you to understand that I've got 3 numbers going on here, okay? I've got 25%, I have the number 12, and I have the number 3. You can actually write that as an equation. I told you that the word of means what? Of means times. I told you that the word is means what? Is means equal. So if I were to rewrite this, I could say 25% times 12 is 3. Now if I'm multiplying by percents, I have to change them into decimals. So this is actually 0.25 times 12. And if I were to actually calculate this, I'll take 0.25 and I will times it by 12. And guess what I'm going to get? 3. Okay? So far, all I need you to know is that you can take a statement like this. And you can create an equation like this. All right, I'm going to go and erase this. These are really fun, and I need you to write every single one of them down, okay? I'm going to have a question, which is right here. You're going to tell me which number is missing, and then we're going to find out what type of question it is, okay? So, for example, first one is, what is 25% of 12? Before I get started, I need to remind you about something. If I have a fraction, and I have a numerator, let's say it's 3, and I had a denominator, let's say that it's 12. One of these is called a part. The other is called the whole, okay? Which one is the part and which one is the whole? The part is the numerator. The whole is the 12. For example, if I had a Snicker bar, I could separate it into 12 pieces. I would say 3 of 12 would look like this. Okay, just remember, part is the numerator, whole is the denominator. Keep that in mind. The question is asking, what is 25% of 12? Who am I missing? Do I have the part? Do I have the whole? How do I know? I'm missing a 3, which means I need to find the part of a number. Okay? So for example, I said I had 3 12s. This is the part. This is the whole. If it says what is, I'm asking what, x can be what. You get rid of all this stuff. What is 25% of 12? What can be an x, unknown. Is an equal sign. 25%, we change that to decimals. Of means times. And then 12. If I were to take 0.25 and times it by 12, guess what I get? 3. Okay, let's do another one. The more we do, the more it'll make sense. Next question. 3 is what percent of 12? So let's rewrite this as an equation. 3 is what percent? What am I looking for? My x is actually going to be a percentage, right? So I want to know what percent. I'm trying to find a percent. Of means times, and then 12. So I'm actually trying to figure this part out, right? So I'll put that into my equation real quick. Let me move everything over so it's nicely looking. 3 equals x times 12. Just keep in mind that at the very end, I'm still looking for a percent. So I need to change my answer into a percent, okay? How would I get x all by itself? Well, I would do the opposite of what's happening to it, and right now it is being multiplied by 12, so the opposite would be to divide by 12. But if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. These cancel out, which leaves me just with an x. Now if I take 3 and I divide it by 12, I get a decimal, 0.25. Is that my final answer? No, because what am I looking for? A percent. I'm looking for a percent. So what is 0.25 as a percent? 25%. Okay? Basically, all you're doing is you're taking a question and you're learning how to create an equation from that question. Okay? Let's do another one. Let me grab my little sheet of paper and move it down. Okay. 3 is means equals. Bring down the 3. 3 is 25%. We like to change those into decimals. Of means times what? My what is my x. Do I have an equation where I could solve for x? Definitely. What's happening to x? It's being multiplied by 0.25. The opposite of that would be to divide by 0.25. Divide by 0.25. Now we know we can't divide things when there's decimals in the denominator, so we can kick that out of there. But if I do it to one, I have to do it to the other. So now I have 300 over 25. How many 25s can go into 300? Or if you were to divide that, what would you get? And when you divide it, you get 12. 12 equals x. So my final answer would be 12. That is pretty much what we're doing in this lesson. We're taking questions and we're learning how we can change them into equations, okay? I'm going to go ahead and go over to this lesson. I want you to pause the video and I want you to write down this whole section, okay? This whole section is super important. In words, you can represent A and P as percent of W with the proportion A is P percent of W. So what I did is I taught you guys how to make an equation. They're just showing you how you would solve it, okay? So don't worry too much about this stuff, but I do want you to know this is a percent, this is the part, and this is the whole. You can take the part over the whole and set it equal to the percent. They changed the percent, though, into a fraction, not a decimal. There's two different ways to do this. You can either set it up this way. They look like proportions, right? Or you can set it up the way that I was doing it, in words, okay? I want you guys to set them up as words. I feel like that's what you're going to be using in 8th grade math. That's what you're going to be using in high school. Percentages are great. And I do need you to know the difference between a percentage, a whole, and a part. But it's also more important to know how to set it up as an equation. So let me show you this one more time. Maybe write this in your note. 150% of what number is 24? Rewrite it. 150%, we change those to decimals. Of means times. What number? That's our x. Is means equals, and then bring down the 24. How would I solve for x? Get 1.5 out of the way, and it's being multiplied, so we've got to divide. But if I do it to one side, I've got to do it to the other. 24 divided by 1.5 is 16. Okay, your answer is 16. So the final question is, so 150% of 16 is 24. All I did is I took my answer, 16, and I plugged it in for the what number part. 150% of 16 is 24. Okay? We'll do a couple more examples together, and then I'm going to let you do your homework, and I'll tell you what your homework is in a little bit. Let me erase. All right, let me grab my box. We're going to move it down. Let's see this one. Number 1. These are just examples. What percent? You guys, that's my unknown, but I'm also needing to remember to change it into a percent at the end. What percent of means times 5 is means equals, bring down the 3. X times 5 equals 3. How do I get x by itself? Do the opposite of what's happening to it. It's being multiplied, so we've got to divide. Those cancel out. X equals, now I'm going to take 3 divided by 5, I'm going to get 0.6. I know I'm not done because the question was asking what percent. Okay, how do I change 0.6 into a percent? Move it 2 places. Add a 0. My final answer is 60% of 5 is 3. I want you to get in the habit of having your final answer look like that and not just 60%. Put it back into the question. Okay, I'll show you with my highlighter. This is my answer, and I'm going to pop it in for what the question was asking. What percent? We got 60%. 60% of 5 is 3. All right, let me go and erase my page. I'll go ahead and grab another white blank piece of paper. Let's do the next one. What number? That means I'm just using an x. Is means equals. 80%, we change those to decimals. Of means times. Bring down the 60. Okay, super easy. Now I just got to figure out what x is. How do I do that? I literally just multiply these two things. 0.8 times 60 is 48. So x equals 48. But now my final answer is I'm going to pop this answer. Oops, that was not a highlighter. I'm going to pop this answer in for the question. So the final answer is 48 is 80% of 60. Do you see? I just popped 48 right here. So this is 48 is 80% of 60. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Point 1% of what number is 4? Rewrite it as an equation. Turn this into a decimal. 1, 2. 0.001 of means times what number? That's our x. Is means equals 4. Okay, how do I get x by itself? Do the opposite of what's happening to it. So divide by 0.001. But if I do it to one side, I got to do it to the other. Those cancel out. X equals, I'm going to take 4 divided by 0.001. Oh my goodness gracious, I got 4,000. Now, take what you guys just got for an answer and pop it in for the question. So my final answer would be 0.1% of 4,000 is 4. 0.1% of 4,000 is 4. Okay? All right, guys. Your homework is going to be on page 230, and you are going to do questions 1 through 10. Okay? I am going to say let's skip number 3. Skip number 3. Because we're not using the models. I'd rather you guys use the equations, okay? And now, number 4, let me check on number 4 for you guys real quick. Which proportion does not belong with the other 3? Here's what you need to do. You need to solve the proportions by doing cross multiplication. Okay? So for example, this would be W times 50, which is 50W. 15 times 100, 1,500. How do I get W by itself? Divide by 50, divide by 50. That's actually 150 divided by 5, which is 30. Okay, solve the next one. Cross multiply, that'd be 12n. Cross multiply, 15 times 40 is 600. Divide by 12, 50. So far, 2 very different answers. Let's keep going. 15 times 100 is 1,500. 25 times p, divide by 25, divide by 25, divided by 25 is 60. Ooh, yet another very different answer. So let's keep going. Okay, I've got A times 100, and then I've got 35 times 20, divide by 100, divide by 100. A equals 7. Which proportion does not belong with the other 3? Explain your reasoning. Honestly, I don't think that we found a good answer on this one. I don't think solving the proportions helped us at all. So what looks different? I think the one that I don't like the most, and I'll tell you why in a second, I think the one that I don't think belong is this one. Let me tell you why. We learned, when you wrote this down over here, remember how I told you to write this part down? We learned that the P, the percent part, goes over 100, right? The percent goes over 100 to make it a percent. Now, if you look at these, this would be the 50%, right? Let me erase this, my markings on here. This one would be the percent. P is the percent. We're looking for the P, the percent. This one is the percent. We know it's 35%. Do I have one on this one, though, that shows me a percent? No, nothing's over 100, right? So I believe this guy is the odd man out, and my reasoning why is because they don't have a percent. Okay, everything else has something over 100, which would give you a percent, give you a percent, give you a percent. This is the only one that wouldn't. So I would say it's the second card. All right, you guys can go ahead and work on your homework. It is do the rest, which is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 1, write the percent proportion in words. The percent proportion in words, that would be over here. You can represent A is P percent of W with the proportion. This is what they're looking for, guys. This is the percent in words, okay? It just means the part over the whole is equal to the P over the 100, which is the percent. I'll explain that more when I get back. But the rest of these do exactly what we were doing. I'll do one with you to remind you. Number 5, What number, that's our x, is, that's our equals. 24%, that's going to be 0.24. Of, that's our times. And then 80. So I would just take 0.24 times 80, and I'd get my x. X equals 19.2. Okay? And that's what you would do. But then for your final answer, I would say 19.2, because I'm going to plug it back into the question, is 24% of 80. That's the answer I'm looking for. All right, guys, remember you can pause the video, rewatch the video as much as you need to help you with this lesson. All right, I'll see you Friday.